Hello and welcome wherever you are in the world. Logon is an online magazine of the spiritual school of the Golden Rosycross. We hope that our podcast will provide you with food for thought, inspiration for new questions and impulses in your research for new answers.
On the modest parking lot, where our small group stood waiting for our departure, little could be seen of the surroundings. We had been told all sorts of things of what was waiting for us, but not the whereabouts of where we had to go. I sneaked a look around me. The others seemed so sure of themselves. They had backpacks, mountaineering boots, and ingenious water bottles. I think they all had taken survival courses or something like that, for they all knew the technical terminology. They talked with the leaders as if they had already made a lot of these kinds of trips. For me, everything was new. I had only been listening, open-mouthed, as it were. It all sounded as if I had been waiting my entire life for this. I was filled with questions, but I didn't pose any. Yet, they were answered, but not with directions. When I was asked if I wanted to go on a journey, I was surprised that I was accepted. And at the same time, I knew that nothing could have stopped me. All disadvantages, for clearly they were there, were clearly taken care of too. There was just no stopping it. I had for some time had the feeling of intense expectation, not knowing what I actually expected. I received a smile from an old man, with no apparent reason, and this made me feel that I was on the right track. Incomprehensible, maybe, but undeniable. Then I met this tour group. A remarkable collection of people, and each one so different. And though I was already middle-aged, here I was a greenhorn. Oddly enough, the confident ones were also much more casual. They skipped the introductory evening because of a game that they wanted to play. But no matter. They already knew so much about it. Hey, what's happening now? Are the ones with the backpacks leaving us now? Or did it just look like that? Yes, that's how it was. They turned back. But backing out could never be the way, because there was no going back. The leaders came over to wish us a good trip. We all shook hands, and then I was on my own. You might say that that was impossible in the middle of a small group. And yet, that is how it was. I only carried a compass, but didn't know how it worked. Because I didn't know where I was supposed to go to. I just started to walk, which suited me well enough. The surroundings were magnificent, and at regular intervals I met a fellow traveler, sometimes one whom I knew, and sometimes one who had been on the path longer than I. All of us relied upon our own compass, but these were probably all of a different make, because there were no travelers that walked beside or behind me. Funnily, though, it felt as if there were, but when I looked around, I saw nobody. I was so glad that I was on my way that I almost began to hop. Even though we had been warned, I didn't notice any nasty obstacles. Sometimes I saw someone standing still with a worried face, and I also met somebody who had lain himself down on the ground. I wanted to help him up, but that didn't work so well. So he said that he would manage by himself. Of course, it rained sometimes, and it was often cold or hot. But generally speaking, my journey went pretty smoothly. Then suddenly I came to a boulder. Not that I saw one, but I noticed it when I crossed it. Now everything was new and unknown to me. I therefore walked more carefully, at times doubting if I should go left or right. There came crevices in the rocks that I had to jump over, sometimes not without danger. There were parts that were very high that left me all done in, followed by scary, steeply winding paths going downwards that were slippery from the rain. Yet, I never wished that I had stayed home. Home was here, at each moment. Presently I stand before this enormous boulder. For weeks or months, I am not exactly sure. I have already tried all kinds of things. I have pushed, pulled, shoved, hacked, carved, assailed, scaled it, and slid down the boulder again. No human being in sight, and I cannot go one step further. I have gathered all my strength, but it does not want to yield. I even cannot see what is behind or beside it. Going back is impossible. I don't even need to try it. I cannot remain here forever, can I? I am hungry and thirsty, and that is why I would try anything if I would just get rid of that boulder. But the more I try, the more tired I become, and I definitely do not want to sleep. I have been assured that one must never fall asleep, for it is then very difficult to awaken. I sit down on a spur of the boulder, and reflect on all the methods I have already used. And yet, there must be a way. Every now and then, it seems as if just out of reach something useful pops into my head. But if I try to catch it, it is gone again. The only thing that really draws my attention in these surroundings is a large species of bird that sits on top of the boulder. It has been there for quite a while now. It is a strange animal that looks askance at me. I am so lonely now that I have the tendency to have a chat with it. But that is crazy, of course. Every now and then it flies upward for a bit, and then returns to the same spot. It would be nice if I could fly myself, I think. Then I would be able to fly over this thing. Could that bird be living behind that boulder? Look, it flies up again, higher than before, and I follow it with my eyes. Higher and higher it goes, and it is wonderful to see how its slender wings contrast against the blue sky. A circle of light surrounds it, and I realize that it flies exactly between the sun and me, straight towards the light. I forget the boulder and let my heart fly with it. So lovely, light, and free. No part of my trip can surpass this high flight, and it looks as if the bird wears a crown of intense white light with jewels in all colors. It is crazy, but I feel myself coming closer and closer to it. And pretty quickly, I reach its back, where I find a soft seat. We soar together brilliantly through the sky, but suddenly my thoughts are with the journey. Should it go upwards? The bird turns its head, and I look into the eyes of an old acquaintance. But who? His voice is low and high and soft and clear at the same time. First up, and then down again, and then to work. And in high spirits we descend again to the point where I stood before. The boulder is still there, but it is now transparent. I take a step, and without any effort, I walk through it.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed it. If you wish to support us in reaching more people, like our posts, rate us with 5 stars on iTunes, leave a positive comment where you can, or share our content on your social media.